This is Gene Vino, and today on the program from Harrisburg City, I have Jamie Shallenberger, who is the manager of the Monitoring and Protection Program at Susquehanna River Basin. Hello, Jamie. Good morning.
Hello, Gene.
And
nice
also,
to be here.
Thank you for being here today. Also, I have our special guest that's joining Jamie and me today. I have John Quigley, who's the director for the Center for Environmental Energy and Economy at the Harrisburg University. Welcome, John.
Hi, Gene. Good to be here.
Thank you. You know, and before we get started, I just want to give our viewers a background of who you are, John. I've known you for many years, but your biography and your Wikipedia site, everybody could go down and download that later. But for now, you were Secretary of DEP, you were Secretary of DCNR. You have an extensive biography in working with public and private sectors, including founding the Downtown Revitalization Nonprofit Organization. You were 8 years as mayor of Hazleton, Pennsylvania. You were an instructor of economics at Penn State University. I can go on, but for today's program, I want to welcome you and thank you for your expertise and all you're doing at Harrisburg University currently.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity to be with you, and I'm a big fan of SRBC and the great work that they do.
Well, and Jamie, our manager, who has an extensive staff of doing just about everything in the river basin as it relates to monitoring and protection of the program, I've had the opportunity and the pleasure of working with him and his entire team the past year, and I am just continually amazed at all of the work that SRBC is doing. With that, today's discussion, it deals with a topic that I found out about a year ago. And I just happened to be picked up the news on CBS 21 News, and I saw this press statement about Harrisburg University and a data analytics program, phase 1. And John, can I ask, what was the genesis of Harrisburg University and SRBC and how you and Jamie got started?
Well, actually, when I started at Harrisburg University in August of 2017, we created the Center for Environment, Energy, and Economy. The idea was to take the university's skill sets around data science, computer science, information systems engineering and management, and so forth, and apply them to real-world problems in the area of sustainability. And in order to do that and to make an impact in the real world and to try to help businesses and governments make better decisions using data and science, we needed some partners. And honestly, the first group that I reached out to was SRBC, because I knew of their fantastic work in protecting the Susquehanna River, the drinking water that comes from that, and all the resources around the river, and started a conversation with SRBC about the possibility of working together. And through probably after maybe 2-3 conversations, we had lined up one project and probably 3 or 4 more coming close after that. So it's been a great relationship, and we're really excited about the work.
Well, thank you, John. Now, Jamie, your staff was involved in this, and what kind of data were you submitting to the Harrisburg University students and professors?
Gene, we submitted a lot of data that's representative of what the talented and dedicated men and women of SRBC, and particularly the Monitoring and Protection Program, generate. We sent to John's crew at Harrisburg University a large quantity of data from our remote water quality monitoring network. These are sophisticated sensors that measure pH, temperature, conductivity, dissolved oxygen, and turbidity on 15-minute intervals. We also submitted to the folks at Harrisburg University a lot of biological data, river flow information, and we patched in some precipitation and other weather-related data. So our challenge is not collecting measurements, it's now the quantity of measurements that we've got, and we wanted to bind our skills with Harrisburg Universities to take data science and analytics and the environmental science and insight that the folks at Susquehanna River Basin Commission have and pool our strengths.
Good. And John, I understand that in addition to the graduate level and doctoral level, we had Professor Siamak Aram, we had Professor Michael Meyer, and we also had a coordinator in Sajjan. Can you explain what their involvement was with Jamie's data in your presentation?
Oh, we had a team at the university, Dr. Aram, Dr. Mike Meyer. Mike is in the environmental science program. Dr. Aram is in data science. Another data scientist, Ruzbe Sadikian, was involved, and a number of graduate and undergraduate students. And they worked together to take the data that SRBC had been gathering and try to turn that data and integrate that data into a tool to put all this data on a desktop so that the managers at SRBC can use the data, can interpret the data in real time to develop predictive tools, identify what's going on in the river in terms of river flow, water quality, but to place all of that data at their fingertips on a computer screen so that they can have access to it in real time. The first iteration of this was essentially a prototype that this team from Harrisburg University worked on. Now we're into the second phase of making that tool more robust, adding additional parameters, and really refining the analysis. So it's an ongoing piece of work. I think it's one of a kind. I have not seen anything like it anywhere else in the country, but it's certainly a tribute to the fact that SRBC has been open to not only sharing their data, but looking for ways to enhance their performance and their stewardship of the river.
And with that, I understand, Jamie, how many years of data did you submit in the phase one before I mentioned about phase two? I understand there's quite a bit.
Yes, I think we submitted for the Pine Creek Watershed, Gene, which is a prominent and sizable watershed in the Susquehanna Basin. It's in the North Country heart of Pennsylvania. And we submitted our continuous monitoring data. Many of those stations in that region were started in 2010, 2011. We have biological data that goes back earlier than that. We had some water chemistry and other data. We basically said, here's a big bundle of information. There's, I don't know how many millions, tens of millions of individual records, and said to Harrisburg University, we'd like to see what you can do with it. And they did some pretty impressive things with it.
Well, thank you. And I want to get to John's comment about phase two. I know he said, you know, he's not seen any other university or other basin working on such data. And I want to compliment President Eric Darr, who I met many years ago, about 7, 8 years ago. And I was very impressed with what he was doing back then. And Doug Firestone, two leaders in the Harrisburg University. And when I knew John came on board, I said, wow, what a team they got in place over there. And we did make that presentation that you mentioned, Jamie, in 2019. I believe it was May 2nd. And I was so pleased when I read the presidential award grant that Eric funded for phase two. And phase two, as you stated, is now continuing. And John, just speak to us a little bit more about phase two. I think this really portends to be even more exciting than phase one.
Well, phase one, again, was a prototype to just essentially prove the concept that we could marry literally tens of millions of records and provide and turn that data into insights for the commission. And now what we're trying to do is refine the model, make it more robust, add yet more parameters to really give the professionals at SRBC on one screen, one computer screen, a number of metrics that they can follow in real time to make decisions. So it's a really exciting concept, and the idea here is turning data into insights is what we do at Harrisburg University. It is a skill set that is desperately needed in environmental policy making. We need to get to more evidence-based decision making around environmental policy, about environmental stewardship, natural resource management, and taking advantage of the long history of SRBC's data-driven approach, putting that on steroids, if you will, giving them some easy-to-use tools that integrate all of the data that they have been gathering so professionally and put it at their fingertips. So it's a very exciting concept. I think it's something that can have national implications. It's the kinds of tools that we would like to see deployed nationally. And I think Harrisburg University is in a pretty good position to help be on the cutting edge of that.
Well, John, I can't thank you enough for your participation today. And Jamie, I know you're busy with your staff. We're still doing field work, doing our remote access of all our employees, our 64 employees. Is there anything, Jamie, you'd like to say before we conclude our interview today with John?
We really were impressed with the proof of concept through the first phase of this collaboration, and we're anxious and looking forward to the next step. The partnership has been really tremendous. We've got this project and several others in the works, and we look forward to a long and fruitful partnership with Harrisburg University. Thanks. Appreciate being on your show, Gene.
Well stated, Jamie. Well stated, John. Look forward to seeing you soon. I will make sure that this video is shared with the colleagues at Harrisburg University and on social media. It's been a pleasure. This has been Gene Vino at the Susquehanna River Basin today with my two guests, Jamie Shallenberger and John Quigley. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.
Thanks, you too.